Greetings everyone, hello, welcome to a concept review. We're here on Ford, to say we, I mean me, and Ian, I'm in charge here. He is dwelling into a Russian medium, the 416. Now, this is a concept review. We're going to be looking at, the hell was it? Crossfire. Crossfire, a very important thing, relies on anticipation, which I believe I did do an individual concept review on, so if you want to check that out, I'll try and drop a link in the description, but I probably won't because I'm extremely forgetful by nature of being me. One thing I did want to cover before I dive into the meat of this video, lately I've been getting sent a lot more of your replays, for which I very much appreciate you sending them in. But I wanted to clarify why you don't see a lot of subscriber content on the channel. And it's because I look around and I see people like Quiggy Baby, people like Agent Jedi, and they make good content on what is going on in the battles. You know, they pick these great games and they give a decent understanding of what's happening in the battle. But that's not really what I've modelled my content on. It's always a deeper analysis, and my content is always explaining not just what is going on in the replays, but why. And that's the clutch of it. The reason why I don't do many subscriber replays is because when the replay's not mine, I can't look at a particular action and say why. I can't just establish a rhyme or reason or logical predecession to lead up in a sequence of events to them kicking ass or dying. Like, I can make a theory, but it's nothing concrete. Whereas with my own replays, I can tell you what I'm doing, I can tell you why, because I think that the why is probably the most important thing that you have to grasp if you are to develop your skills as a World of Tanks player. It's all well and good having seen all of these replays and knowing what's going on and knowing the weak spots of an enemy tank, but if you don't understand why you need to do what you do, what your end goal is, then you really don't have a grasp enough to adapt that gameplay to any other situations that go outside of the ballpark of what you may have seen before. You can't adapt that. So that is why I don't feature many subscriber replays. Now, that is not me saying, hey, I'm not going to do any subscriber stuff, stop sending them in. That's me saying, hey, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with me, or would you like to see me just give a what's going on in this replay to some of the best subscriber content? Do let me know. In any case, Crossfire. Now, it may seem like a basic concept, and to be honest, it is. Crossfire just means that you have people shooting from multiple angles. Maybe they're unexpected, maybe the enemy do expect them, but the point is that there is always going to be someone exploiting the weak spots of an enemy tank. And so, I guess what I really want to cover is the anticipation side of Crossfire. Engagements in World of Tanks are extremely linear. Now, this is the thing, I mean, maps in World of Tanks tend to be symmetrical in terms of their I mean, I can't generalise like that, but let's state this. Engagements are linear. No matter how many levels they have, engagements are very, very linear. And they are not linear because of how the maps are laid out or poor map design. That's nothing to do with it. They're linear because of the attitudes of World of Tanks players. The attitude of World of Tanks players is, I want to get in there and I want to shoot something. That's what you're going to get with most of the opponents that you're facing. And that means that they will only be seeing one option to pursue the engagement in front of them. And that is a skill that is something that you, when thinking anticipation for the prospect of a crossfire, that is so important for you to grasp and know. Because let's say we're looking at this engagement right here, and we're thinking about the future of the engagement. So, how can we establish a crossfire? Well, we know, let's zoom out a bit, try and do this in your head when you're playing World of Tanks. We know that in order for an enemy force to win this flank, they are going to have to come around here. See, however many locks and passages and holes there might be, or elevations inland, on the small scale when you're down there in the tank and you're looking through the iron sights, when you zoom out, the engagement is linear. It takes one path. And thinking about it like that makes it a lot easier to establish a crossfire because you know where the enemy are going to be. At whatever point they are going to have to progress into a certain stage of this area, at which point you can be prepared for that. So if we wanted a crossfire here, put one of us perhaps behind this lock, kite them over here, put another one out wide. If they want to shoot that guy, I'm shooting them from here. But they have to push forward into a crossfire and expose their weakest armor. And it's something that you can do in any map pretty much. You think the town on Himmelsdorf, if you're thinking, oh, I've got a lot of punch shot on me here, I'm gonna have to fall back. Maybe you've got a tank, maybe you've got a Chi to the right of you, he's down one particular alleyway, and you just think, hey, okay, so if I retreat down this alleyway, then wherever that guy faces, let's say you're facing a T95 with a Chi and a KV-13. The T95 is coming at you. If you retreat down the same alleyway as the Chi, you are both dead. The T95 can keep his frontal armor to you. There's nothing that you can do. But if you just move at a slightly different angle, boom, crossfire, T95 can't advance into that position. The logical play for him then is to fall back and get out of that position. Some players sometimes won't do that, and that's unfortunate, but you gotta rely on this gets me killed a lot of the time, relying on what is most logical for people to do. But in any case, crossfire is a good way of not only effectively killing the enemy, but dissuading them from pursuing their line of attack in the first place. And quite often, if you get a 50% win rate player and above, they'll be very, very cautious about how they pursue the engagement. And it will not only buy you time, but it will be, yeah, that's basically it. It will buy you time. It will, if you need your team to put pressure on the enemy base, get a crossfire up long enough to hold the enemy team back so you can exploit your advantage on the other flank. I mean, I'm trying to... Am I overgeneralizing this here? I mean, concept reviews, the point of them is to give you an understanding of why, of what the point of doing a particular maneuver or reacting to a particular game state is, what you hope to achieve. And with Crossfire, it's to slow down the state of the engagement, or to basically lock off a flank with minimal forces. All it takes to clear out Crossfire is 2 tanks. And you turn from an easily engageable force of 2 into a nightmare for the enemy. They have to push in, and they just can't do anything. The longer they spend in that engagement, the worse it gets for them. And so, that is exactly what we're going to do here. Earlier we talked about how all engagements are linear. And they are. Because we have a base. And the enemy is going to come into that base. Now, whether they come through here or come through here, that does not matter. Because at one point, if they want to kill me, they're going to have to come over there. That means that I should take a position to establish a crossfire a decent distance away and put a bit of cover between where they will have to go to engage me. And what I mean by that is, if we get a guy coming round here, admittedly, we get crossfire from Ian and the cheating if you like it's down there. But if I were to hold the position down here, then he could still engage me. The point of this maneuver, if you do it correctly, is to ensure that at no point are you in danger of taking fire from the enemy team. So, being back here, It's a difference of 50 meters, but it makes all the difference in the engagement. Because at no point do I have to risk taking damage. I can just say, okay, I'm going to draw this guy back and back and back and back while he's just shooting him in the ass. If he wants to turn for Ian, then I'm going to play more aggressively. I dictate the pace of the combat, and that is the driving force, the logic behind my decision or my position right here. So, Crossfire. And now it's just a matter of patience. The WZ gets taken out by the Waffle. I'm going to set up my binos. I've got a 5-skill crew on this tank. And a epic view range. So hopefully we can pick up Leo with a long shot. Bear with, my apologies. So we got the Cheery coming down from the northeast. And he's going to be a good distraction. This is quite curious to me, actually. I'm wondering about the skill level. I like to think that this wouldn't work on better players. I mean, if I was on the enemy team, I'd attack from the north. As we know, when I covered High Ground in a concept review, which I'll link in the description as well, High Ground is always better. Because it means that you can choose the engagement that you're making, whereas attacking from here, they're attacking right into our ballpark. I mean, we did prepare for that as well. There's a area down... Oh, by the way. There's an area down here which potentially could have been used if they were to attack from the north. Can get down into here, perhaps, make them come to this area, and then I can still get supporting fire to that location. So... there was potential for us to deal with that engagement, but it would still have been a more effective way of digging us out than the route the enemy eventually chose. And so, I'm not going to feed you much more information at this point. I'm just going to try and step back and kind of let this game speak for itself. I mean, this backs up my point so well. As the enemy tried to push in here, admittedly, this is an enemy team that is doing everything wrong. But it's not your job as a World of Tanks player to be badass and murder everything. What you are doing, what the skill of a good player is, and I made this analogy before, is it is a direct comparison to the skill of the players that they're facing, because we have set limits. We have statistical limits, limits on DPM, limits on accuracy, limits on traverse speed, or whatever you wanna put limits on. We have limits in the tanks that we're playing, and as a result, that means there is a hard limit on how good a player can be, the potential that they have in a particular engagement. The skill of a good player lies in their ability to pick up on the mistakes of their enemy and to exploit that to their advantage. A good player's skill is directly proportional to the skill of the player that they're facing. If the good player is good, scales are like that. Two good players will have equal scales. But two bad players also have equal scales, because that's how it works. There's always the same skill level in an engagement. It just balances off against one another, if you can follow my line of thought. Alright, so we got a Waffle and a Ferdinand, and these guys are pretty damn healthy, and I mean, I'll take 2 shots from these guys. And here comes the Ferdinand. And Ian and Genie up there are just playing this perfectly. This is the entire concept. At no point are we feeling pressured. At no point does Ian have to take damage. All that Genie have to take damage. Because the further these guys push, the worse it gets for them. And this is just a perfect example. I mean, this inspired me to do this video. This is such an important thing for you to master. If you can get yourself in a position like this, it can result in some huge games for you. And is it not basic? I mean, what we're looking at here, is it not a basic skill that you're seeing? It's a basic action that we're taking to outplay these guys. I mean, we didn't do anything inordinately skill-based here. We just used a basic tactic and exploited the weaknesses of our enemy, and that's exactly what you've got to do. You may look at these replays of really skilled players that you see in people getting 15 kills, collab honors medals, and sure, that's great, but what these players are doing is just using these basic tactics combined with their experience at the game. Because I assure you, all you need to get better at this game is two things. You need to want to. And that's the clincher, really, because for some people this is just a game. And that's all they put into it, is just a fleeting fancy. But if you want to get better at the game, then you will. Because you will look up videos, you'll ask questions, you'll come to my live streams, you'll do your best to get better. You'll watch yourself, you'll think, okay, what did I do wrong here? Why did I die? How could I have lived for longer? And the second thing you have to have is a good memory, because I've completely forgotten what the second thing was. It'll probably come back to me. Now, we've taken the high ground here. As we know, high ground is better. Why is that? It is because it is far easier and quicker for us to relocate from the high ground to low ground. This is a sloped map. The highest altitude is kind of on the 9-0 area. So, that's where we go in an endgame situation. With not that much time left on the clock, because it enables us to sweep down from the north of the map and with the least chance of missing this guy. It is always easier to go from higher ground to lower ground, and that's one of the key reasons why it's so important, and why in endgame situations, if you have time, I always recommend going from the high ground. Not only will it allow you to dictate the pace of combat with your enemy if you do encounter them, but it also means that you are faster relocating from one point coordinate to another due to the slope going down, and you're not climbing up a hill to get to where you want to go. So we're facing a T28 prototype, and I mean, there's no stress involved in this engagement. I mean, you can see our positioning at this point. Again, we're looking to establish a crossfire, because it's a perfect way to outplay a tank that has as poor traverse speed and adaptability as the T28. So I'm going out wide. I've got enough health to take a hit. I certainly want to be the one that gets spotted first in this area here. I'm preparing to dive into the water if I do get caught out in the open here. But Ian's moving up around the corner as I haven't spotted him yet, and yeah, if we did spot him, there's really nothing that he could do to win this game. And I'll put in double speed until we get to the conclusion of this replay, and I will try right now to make the same exact point I made earlier. And there we go, pops up in our camp circle. Good effort, Mr. T28, but not good enough for this game. Alright, so you only need two things to get that out with the tanks. Number one, you need to want to, and number two, I still can't bloody remember. You need to want to get better, and you need to. Something about seahorses. It wasn't. Gentlemen, thoroughly hope you've enjoyed the gameplay. Hopefully you got something out of it. Do not let me know your thoughts on whether you want me to do more subscribing related content on the channel, or whether you like my ethos of why not watch. I'd be really interested to hear your opinion on that. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and farewell.
I shoot you, fucking thief! I know who put that one in! Steve, you son of a bitch!
they do say, bitches.
Oh no! Oh no!
Only